Welcome to GoldBoys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Picks. Josh and Brian are here. We have a lot to do. We want to hear from you guys in the chat, so hit us up with any questions or comments. World Series, we got Monday Night Football. We got a lot to get to. Is the sports equinox, which I don't know when that term came about, but it's here. So a lot going on. We'll get to our picks. I guess we'll just start with reaction from a crazy day in the NFL yesterday. A lot of injuries, upsets. I guess we'll just start. Josh, your biggest takeaway from yesterday, what was it?
Football is footballing a lot right now. I don't quarterback
I saw
play,
Will's
man.
tweet yesterday about
Which one?
the Cardinals game where it's like, why do we even
Oh,
try sometimes?
Oh, wait,
oh,
why
That
why are
was
we even doing this?
like,
Actually, yeah, what's interesting is I felt pretty good about some sides last week, or yeah, I guess yesterday, last week, whatever. And they came through. I would have gone 5-0, and I switched my Rams and Cowboys pick to the Rams. And that was a weird spot where it was like you're kind of supposed to take the Rams according to a lot of different contextual like scenarios, but then it was also just like the Cowboys are going to do the most Cowboys thing to do here is to just like run up a bunch of points and dominate the Rams randomly
yeah,
at home like that when they're supposed to be more evenly matched. So yeah, the football is footballing, man.
one you
yeah,
didn't win was when you went head to head with me with the Carolina Texans, which I should have
You
bet you
didn't
would have
take
done
it. You
that.
could
I
have
know.
taken it at minus
I
three.
didn't want to take a bad number for content purposes. It
it's
would have been fun to just take the three. I
You
should have
should have
done it.
taken it.
also.
As
Can
soon as
we
that
talk
game
about
started, I was
how
like, ah, man, I think I'm
we
wrong.
can also talk about it too, where it's man that's one of those things where like, how often do you see those 2 point games? All those times you're like, oh, what's 3 points or tease it to three
Right.
points? It's like two
What's
and a
one and a
half
half?
usually. Yeah, 2.5 is usually like a weird
Wait,
dead
which game?
number. Just like for the Panthers game, same for
No, no, that was
teaser.
three,
It was a
three and
one.
a half
Yeah, I understand, but like, for a little bit,
for it to
was
land on two.
didn't it
You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for it to
Yeah.
land on 2, it's always interesting to see.
Well,
Because I feel like sometimes with 2.5,
Carolina was getting the three
if
and a half,
you
so they won outright. So the spread
no,
didn't
yeah,
come into
the
account, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see more of it because these games are so low scoring where it's like you get these weird 19-17, 13-10 type of games where a lot of field goals and the points become more valuable. What did you have for a takeaway, Bry?
honestly, I was gonna say you mentioned the injuries. I had my first bad week of NFL betting, and I got caught with a lot of injuries, which is it happens. I'm not gonna demand refunds unless whatever happens. But there's a lot of injuries. I feel like if you have underdog NFL, it gets week eight's that point where things start to like attrition sets in because I kept getting these phone notifications saying insert name heading to locker room, insert name won't return. There was just a
Are
lot
you
more
are you
injury.
more of an over guy?
I'm usually pretty mixed, and then this
Okay.
week I was more on the overs, and then I quickly realized why I don't usually tend that way. But if this is like the most overs I probably had, and I got screwed with the injuries, which is fine. But yeah, I guess my biggest takeaway from the whole week is I know Patrick Mahomes had the flu, but what's up with the Kansas City Chiefs picking like 2 or 3 games of the year just to like forget how to play football? It's every season I feel like they just forget how to play for give or take 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
Because besides
bad.
Patrick Mahomes, they just didn't look good at any point yesterday. Like offense, defense, the defense couldn't get off the field. Like in the second
Right.
half, they could not get off the field once. I
Weird
think
game.
Williams had like 30 carries solely because they had the ball for the entire second half.
Yeah, and Mahomes did have the flu. I mean, he didn't look like himself. That's why look, you're gonna and we could talk about Purdy, who's been a lightning rod for this show. Like, look, all these quarterbacks gonna have bad games. Purdy and I don't know if this is my big takeaway, but the Niners obviously losing three in a row. I don't think anyone's mentioned that. Like a couple weeks, what was it? 3 weeks ago, they beat Dallas. They look like one of the best teams ever. It's like, could this team go like 15-2 or something? They unbeatable. And they haven't won a game since.
For
Now
two things real quick, Will.
yeah,
One, I am maxing us out at roughly like 4 to 5 minutes of Purdy talk this show,
sure.
just for the record. And the other thing is, what I said before that game where I took him plus 4, 4.5, all that is because the defense, especially in that spot with Joe Burrow healthy and coming off of the bye, with his whole team healthy, including T. Higgins, and then you have the defense in the 49ers, which is the conversation in San Francisco is Steve Wilkes, defensive coordinator, not getting the job done and calling out like the broadcast now is specifically calling out the moments where the 49ers defense does the wrong thing and it just doesn't look good. They can't get the other team off the field on third down is their major issue. So yeah, there's some conversation there for future bets for them for sure.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I don't
mean
know what
Brock
you guys.
Purdy's your leader rusher too. Who'd have ever thought that would have happened?
That's wild.
And it is worth mentioning, like, I don't know if it's an excuse or it's just it's legitimate. Like, he had a concussion Monday. He somehow gets cleared. He bangs his head again. Like, and that's not the only thing. The other thing with Purdy is like he's always throwing a lot of interceptions. It's just a lot of them got dropped. So maybe that's catching up to him. Uh, Williams being out, Samuel being out. There's a lot going on. But for them to lose 3 in a row, and I'm sure they'll get on track and they'll be fine. They have a bye, which is like the perfect time for the bye for them. That is definitely something that's surprising. And look, since he looked really good, they are off the mat. I know Tone is very excited. Seems to be a habit with them where they come out slow and they before you know it they're on track. So they look really good. I guess another one for me. How do we get the 7 playoff teams in the NFC? Stafford might go on IR. Cousins is out for the year. Like, who are the 7 playoff teams? All right, we'll go Eagles, Cowboys, the
The Giants are sneaking in.
They
had one yesterday.
What odds would you like?
No, they're 2-6. If they had one
Did
yesterday,
Did you see someone tweet yesterday? Like someone tweeted, some Giants fan tweeter or bigger page tweeted saying like giving Dayball credit. He's like last year at this time they're like 1-5. Now they're 3-5. They're coming in and then like
and they lost.
It like blew up afterwards and everyone's like,
well,
don't
yeah,
believe this.
It's awesome how Zach Wilson's just allowed to make his own spot and spot the ball, and then like the ref didn't spot the ball when he spiked it for them to get the field goal at the end of regulation.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I was watching
he
it
didn't.
too.
Their center just placed it, and then they hiked it, and they got it. And the interesting point I saw about that game was the dude who was like, I think it was Raheem Palmer was like, yo, they should have just, whoever won the coin toss should have just kicked.
I totally agree with that.
Go anywhere, and then
totally
you have the ball 50 or 40.
It's good. It's good to bring up. I totally agree with that because if you're the Giants, you didn't even trust your kid to throw, and that's a whole other thing. Like, why is he on your team if you don't trust him to throw? Like, what are you going to do with the ball? You had no passing first downs the entire day. The best chance to win a game is to kick off, get a 3-and-out, get a turnover, get a whatever punt return, and then get a field goal. Like, when you get the ball first in overtime, if you go 3-and-out, it's a huge detriment to go first because now it's true sudden death. I totally agree. Should have kicked off.
So I'm glad you said because I have so much to say about that because I was watching that game. I get he's your third quarterback or like he's your emergency quarterback, but they treat him like he was a Make-A-Wish kid. Like he threw this ball like 3 times and they're all screen passes. I was watching. I was like, the kid, he's on an NFL roster, right? Like he's got to be
somebody for the job. Like, who did he beat out for the job that he couldn't? Yeah, I'm with you.
What was this like 60-11 in terms of pass to run or whatever? I was like, there's no way. Like you would have thought they pulled a punter out from like the practice squad with the way they're running the play calls. I was like, you can't just run the ball 60 times and then scratch your head when you lose and you're taking these 4th and 20s on these. What was it? That one screen pass to do in overtime. He's lucky that wasn't picked off because that was the only play. There was one route and it was a screen pass that was horribly guarded. It was just
I was line Saquon up at quarterback every time.
Yeah, it would have been better.
What was
it would have been.
I lost my train.
Did you are you off? I mean, I don't know if you were ever on the 49ers as much as you were on Purdy, but like, are you kind of like off them, or you think it's just like a mid-season issue and they get right after the bye? Well,
I mean, I wasn't really on Purdy. I just took a shot at 22-1. I thought it was a good number, and look, it got down to 7-8-1. So we could look at MVP odds too, because I'm sure I haven't even looked. I'm sure it's Tua just by default with Mahomes' poor game. I still think they'll be fine. They'll get healthy. They're probably still one of the 2 or 3 best teams. So. I don't think they're. I wouldn't like count them out. I mean, it's been concerning. The defense hasn't played well. Like they're injured. So look, it's the NFL. You go through these bumps and bruises. It's hard to believe that team has lost 3 in a row. What was I going to say?
It is. It's like you can look at certain parts of the season and go like it makes sense to a degree. Like this guy left, that guy left in the wrong time in the Browns game. The Vikings game is somewhat inexcusable to me, but like also I don't know, the Vikings have looked pretty good over the last 3 or 4 weeks, including barely losing to Kansas City. So like whatever you want to do with that, there's still no transitive property. But I think like this is a weird bump for a team that felt like it could lose 2 games and no one would be surprised. So like
over-under's down to 10.5.
It's now down to 10.5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah. We won't. I know we have a lot to talk about, so we can move on from like the recast. But I'll say this: as the biggest Eagles hater out there, as a fan, I'll say this. One of my takeaways is they still looks like so lost at times. But we talked about like 3 weeks ago where everybody was at undefeated or close to undefeated, and it's like, oh, this team looks way better. The Eagles are barely squeaking by. I mean, now they're atop of the NFC, and I guess my thing is, as bad as it looked at time, at least they're pulling out wins, right? I mean, like that they're winning close games. I mean, yesterday they were tied up until the last 7 minutes, and then they ended up winning by 14. It's just, I don't know. At least
They were
they're
losing
getting it
pretty
done
late.
with
They were down 11.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down a bunch. And AJ Brown, I don't know that anyone's going to beat Hill for Offensive Player of the Year. He's certainly in the mix. Oh, this is what I meant to say on the Giants game, and we can move on to some other things because Dallas-Philly is a huge game this week. If you're the Giants, just throw it 50 yards downfield and hope for a pass interference. Tell your receivers to run into the D-back and fall down. They throw
I don't know,
flags
can this
so
guy
easily.
throw the ball more than 10 yards? Didn't
Right.
seem like they trusted him to.
Your receiver might get tripped. You might get whatever. Like they might catch it. Like just let him throw a jump ball. I didn't get that. But yeah, Phillies, it's not like impressive every week. And I don't know that Hurts is healthy. So I'm going to try to, I hope I can get a 3.5 on Dallas. I played under his rush prop, and I was wishing I played the alt under because I think he had 1 carry for 7 yards.
Yeah. So. And if, it's funny. I bet it live when I saw that because we watched the game. He came up limp. Like he just wasn't moving well. So I bet it live. And it's funny. I was going to bet the under that you took, but I just didn't get myself around it because it was like 42.5 and then moved to like 36.5. And I was like, I don't know if I want to still bet it at that number. And then I saw you play it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I ended up back in Devonta Smith. So it worked out. But when he came up that first run on that 3rd down and he was just like limping back to the huddle, I did take it live. I think it was like 20, it was like 37.5 of that. So yeah, if his health is going to be big, but I'll tell you what, he didn't run at all yesterday. He had to be a pocket passer and he looked fine. I mean, they put up huge numbers. I know it's just the Commanders, but either way, it's at least they're getting the wins. They're one bad, horrible, terrible, shitty pick away from being 8-0. Like at the end of the day, it's that Jets game.
Right. And you can play that game all day and be like, oh, if Jefferson didn't fumble against them in the Minnesota game.
I'm not trying to play that game either.
No,
I'm just saying that even that game, they looked like they were going to play bad, but escape with the win until that terrible pick.
Yeah.
And they are, let's see. Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to bring something up because Favorite Snail brought this up in the chat where he's like, can we talk about all the backup QBs we have playing? Yes. Which I have from a tweet yesterday that I liked, which was the QBs currently playing. This is at 12:18 p.m. my time. So like the start of the witching hour, basically the end of the first round of games. He's like, the QBs that were in at the time were Brett Ripien, Taylor Heineke, Gardner Minshew, Will Levis, Mitch Trubisky, Zach Wilson, Tommy DeVito, with the 3 quarterbacks left to play: Tyson Bagent, PJ Walker, and Josh Dobbs. And then Jaron Hall got in and Cooper Rush.
It's certainly a thing. It's certainly a thing. By the way, Philly -200 to win the division. Dallas +155. I don't hate jumping on Dallas here just because, like we talked about, Philly's schedule does get really tough here. Dallas, the next 5 games, Dallas twice, and we've talked about the stretch. Dallas twice, at the Chiefs, the Bills, and I think the 49ers. There's one other tough game in there where, man, it's a gauntlet the next 5 or 6 games for Philly.
Yeah. Did you say the Chiefs they're playing?
What's up?
Did you say the Chiefs?
Yeah, Chiefs, Bills, Cowboys twice, and I think it's 49ers, which look, you
I almost want to look into the unders for those games because or like almost just taking the dog just because how these games are being played.
Yeah.
What should we do? You guys think the Vikings trade for anybody or it's not worth it? I personally don't feel it's worth it. Kyler Murray, anything?
No, I don't think so.
It's maybe a little bit different if you don't have Jefferson on the shelf. I mean, if he's playing, he's demanding once this, that, or the other, but he's already going to miss for another 3-4 weeks.
I could throw the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. I
don't know. Apparently, this guy Danny DeVito didn't.
Oh my god!
Wasn't able to throw the ball.
Danny DeVito.
All right, who are the 7 teams in the NFC then? We'll go Cowboys and Eagles. We'll go Lions from the North. We'll go 49ers and Seahawks. That gets us to 5, and then the NFC South winner is 6. First of all, who wins the NFC South? I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's probably the Saints get it.
I guess maybe that's your.
They're on their way to victory.
Maybe that's
that's another thing. Was Ritter hurt? They said he had a concussion. Allegedly. Or was he benched? Okay.
Allegedly.
It's funny. And we're going in much different direction.
Because don't bench him and give him like an out. Like if you're gonna bench him, bench him. I don't want to say I hope he's hurt, but like I hope that wasn't like a scapegoat around benching him. Because if you're gonna bench him, you gotta do it.
Yeah, it hurts his feelings less.
Tyrod Taylor gets hurt, and all of a sudden Daniel Jones is cleared for this week, and he's available to play. I thought that was a little sketchy. I was like, oh, now he's just automatically miraculously good to go, where he had all these symptoms and stuff a couple days ago. That's a little strange to me. That is sketchy.
I guess to your point about if the Vikings are going to do anything, I guess that's your main component, like driver for maybe making a trade, is because that 7th team right now would be them, right? Of tiebreakers, I believe it'd be them. So.
Right, but who do you guys think gets it? Just like the loser of the NFC South? Like Falcons and Saints get in?
Maybe the Saints get in. I feel like the Saints are. I don't even like the Saints, but I'll take the Saints over like the Vikings at this point in time. If it's an
So you think
even
the Falcons win the
sledding.
division?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
What
I
are
guess
the
that's your
what are the
point.
Bucks?
Bucks are. I'm just looking at the South. Bucks are plus 475 to win the South. Falcons are plus 105. Saints are plus 145. This Saints schedule, I know all these teams stink, so they're kind of it's like the same team. It's like
They have like the easiest one, don't they?
they do home versus the Bears, at the Vikings, at the Falcons, home versus the Lions, which is a tough game, home versus the Panthers, home versus the Giants, at the Rams, who might not have Stafford, who might go on IR, at Tampa versus Atlanta. Again, Tampa, Atlanta, all these teams are all kind of the same one, but I don't know if you're the Saints, you could probably get to 9 wins there and get you in. So I guess it'll be like the loser of the NFC South still gets a bid. I mean, otherwise you're talking about Minnesota, Green Bay, the
At least
Giants,
Minnesota's 2-0 in the
Washington.
division. That helps a little bit.
So
If it's
funny.
gonna be so,
I
if
mean, the
it's gonna
Lions
be,
are going to win tonight. The Lions are going to be 6-3, right? Like,
I mean, the
they're
Lions
not
are
losing
minus
at home.
1,500 for the division. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you guys think? You guys think it'll be the runner up of the NFC South gets the last spot?
Oh my
yeah, I just don't know if I buy into the Vikings. The Vikings probably have the best position right now, but if you look at their team, it's dismantled.
I don't
so
think
know
they're in the
how you-
best position because Jaron Hall's their fucking quarterback. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I'm saying like in
The rest
terms
of the team's playing
stand-
well.
In the,
Yeah.
I'm saying the standings right now, they have the clearest like.
Wow.
They were
the
probably
best.
going to cruise to the 7th seed if Cousins stayed healthy, which is crazy because they started 1-4 and they were
Yeah.
awful. So if he only got hurt a few weeks ago, Vikings would be in the mix for one of these picks where they could get like one of the top couple picks. And can you imagine if the Jets had traded for Cousins a few weeks ago, then he tore his Achilles too, all the jokes and all just the memes and everything. I mean, that would have just been so like cruel. And I mean, I don't want to say funny, but it would have kind of been funny. Yeah.
Giant smile on your face.
Oh my God. I mean, come on. We were all laughing. It would have just been the perfect like Jets thing.
Yeah. It's crazy to say that the second, like the last team to make the playoffs is probably coming from the South, when you probably would have taken, I mean, probably the Vikings or the Packers or the Commanders or the Giants, like a number of teams outside that division to have like 3 teams from one division in the NFC, and now probably going to get 2 from the South, because between the Bucks and the Saints and the Falcons, I trust 2 of those teams more than I trust like the Commanders in their schedule, more than I trust the Vikings without Kirk, right? Like the Vikings to make the playoffs were becoming a really good bet, and yeah,
right.
So
somebody said, Townsend said Dable should have run 4th and 1. Yeah, I don't disagree there. And it's funny, I rewatched that kick in the Giants Jet game. 99 on the Jets. I think it's McDonald is about to block it, so maybe that's why Gano hooked it, because you could see him like try to kick around it. Yeah. We'll get to the game tonight. Just quickly, MVP 2 is 3-1. Mahomes is 4-1. Hurts is plus 425. Lamar is plus 550. Allen 12-1. Lawrence 20-1.
So much.
Burrow 22-1. Purdy's back to 22-1. So I'm back where I started here with terms of
who was
the
the first
value.
20-1 you said?
Lawrence,
Trevor Lawrence.
They might have clinched the division yesterday. That team, like they won. They're 6-2. The Texans lost. They might pull away and win that division by 2-3 plus 6-2 there. They are, and they've got an easy schedule. They kind of have a sneaky shot at the 1 seed. So I don't know. Do any of those numbers catch your eye for the MVP?
I just hate it. We always talk about the bad prices on first touchdown. I hate these awards too, because you're telling me everyone still has like the same amount of chance to win it, like it was at the start.
8 guys are 3-1. That's really fair.
Like you're telling me that 8 guys are under 10-1, like with the same award. The math doesn't add up.
Nope.
So my answer would be no. I can't take anyone like at those odds. But someone in the chat, was it Favorite Snell, said that even with Tua, he's throwing picks, which could come back to bite him if it comes down to a close race for MVP.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, though, they play in good weather. He just got it made with that offense. It's just those guys are so open. You just have to get it in the vicinity. They're just so open with Waddle and Hill that he doesn't. He's got the receivers. Mahomes doesn't really have. Mahomes has Kelsey and really not much else. So
yeah,
I guess 2 is the rightful favorite here. Again, there's nothing worth a bet.
For our draft from the beginning of the year, I have Tua and Hurt, so it'd be nice.
Ooh, one of them you're in good shape.
It'd be one of them if one of them can make a leap here. I don't know.
You're in good shape.
This is such a pointless thing to say, but like if the 49ers had only lost maybe 1 game, Christian McCaffrey would also be in this conversation with Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
and we don't. It's not there anymore. But he is probably about to break the streak for touchdowns in a row,
which I had never heard of until now. So I
me neither.
I don't know.
I know they were talking about it in a way that I was like, I didn't even hear this on the broadcast beforehand.
I feel like we're going too far over, but I want to say this about that record. Is it just me, or does that kind of prove that if you wanted to, you could just like make records up? Like, not saying that, but the Niners are just like every time they're the 1 yard, like you can almost just like
Right.
will a record to happen. What's to stop? Like, say if the Eagles were down or up, like what's to stop them from just giving AJ Brown like 40 targets and still lose a game? Like, not saying they would do that, but like you could just
Yeah.
do that. Like, there's sometimes with Christian McCaffrey we get the ball, and it's like, oh man, he has 4 chances at the 1 yard line now because they're not going to run any other play to try to like confuse the defense. They're just going to try to make sure it happens.
You can manipulate it a little bit. We're down to 7 tonight. Lions Raiders surprised me. I guess Amon-Ra St. Brown has the flu. I guess that's the reason Garoppolo's playing. This looks a little light to me. I would lay it with Detroit. It's in perfect teaser range. If you have a book that lets you tease something the next week, maybe you take Miami up to 8.5. Maybe you take the Browns down to -1 against the Cardinals. Maybe you take the Bucks up to 8.5. There's plenty of options if you have books that let you tease ahead to next week. I would lay it with the Lions, though. I think they get back on track. They were embarrassed last week. Do you guys have any feel here? Detroit -7, total 46.5, side total, props, whatever you got.
I need them to save my week. I'll tell you that, because I have them in a teaser already, and I have their money line in a parlay that I need to finish up. I think I would still. I bought a half a point when it was at 7. In the parlay that I have them in. So like I think I would still do that as a bet. Is just get it to under the touchdown, but they score touchdowns at home, so I'm really not even scared of the 7 to the point you're saying of like now that you don't have a hook there, you can just lay the 7 and take it. I'm pretty fine with that as well if you just want to play that as a single bet.
Yeah,
it's
this
Detroit
one,
for me.
favorite sound in the chat. He asked if we like Jacoby Myers tonight, or do you think this is where Adams finally gets the ball? Honestly, I think 74.5 for Adams, 59 for Myers. I mean, if you think they're going to be down, this Lions team is not rocking the boat by stopping a lot of wide receivers on defense. They're winning games by just putting up 60 points. So I kind of like both receivers for the Raiders. I do think they'll get a lot of yards against this defense.
Yeah,
Detroit's been pretty good against wide receivers. Not
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm just saying that if they have the right game script, that they're still, for prop wise, they're not someone
Yeah.
that I'm scared to
Oh
bet
yeah, I
against.
feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just bringing
it
this
could be a
up.
pretty positive game script for Detroit, scoring a ton of points, meaning Adams and or Myers could both eat.
Yeah, to kind of bring up Will's point from earlier about like why do we bet on the sport sometimes. Same thing yesterday. Perfect game script for the Bears, and I think DJ Moore had 1 target and 0 catches in the second half. Sometimes things just happen, so
he was
it'll
chucking
be
it
like
every
that.
time too. I had Badgett over
Yeah,
attempts, over 31.5 attempts,
yeah.
and man, those bets are a weird sweat because you want him to you want him to be
You
behind.
have to have success, but not too much success where you get like a big play. It's
You
so
have to get the
funny.
ball back. Like you have to. There's weird aspects to it, but he ended up going over by 6 or 7.
Yeah.
What the hell was my point of even bringing that up? I don't know. I just
Yeah, betting once you start betting on sports, it takes things super weird. Kenny Pickett got hurt yesterday, but I did have his over, and so it didn't really matter. But there was just like certain things where I'm watching the game and he chucks it deep. It's like a 35-yard pass interference. I'm like, no, that's clean. Like, give him
right.
a longer field. I was gonna bring that up because you brought up Amon-Ra St. Brown with the flu. I guess he's playing tonight. Like he's supposed to work through it, but how effective is he gonna be? I mean, we saw what yesterday with Mahomes. Like having the flu is not fun. So I actually took this morning. It's still 44.5. I did take Sam Laporta over 44.5 receiving yards. The Raiders defense is surprisingly good. I don't understand it, but I do think when they played some half decent tight ends, they've had success. And I think if anyone's going to benefit from seeing Brown not being 100%, or God forbid, or for me, it'd be nice if he just gets ruled out last minute. I think Laporta in this offense, he's getting like 6 targets a game. He probably has the most benefit if Brown can't go. So I think he's going to get like at least 6 targets tonight.
How about our favorite exercise? First touchdown score. Jahmyr Gibbs 5-1. St. Brown plus 550. Josh Jacobs plus 750. Laporta 9-1. Reynolds 10-1. Adams 11-1. Jamison Williams 12-1. Craig Reynolds 14-1. Myers 15-1. You mentioned Michael Myers 20-1. The quarterback
Meyer?
off is 20.
Michael Mayer.
Michael May. I think it's Meyer.
Is it Meyer? You said Michael Myers, and it just was like I just know it's not that.
I thought I said Michael Meyer. Michael Meyer is 20-1. That's probably what how I said it. Boy, they really gouge. I just tweeted about it. The hold on these, like I remember a few years ago, Goff on a Thursday night. He was still playing for the Rams. He scored the first touchdown. He was 50-1. These non-mobile quarterbacks used to be like 50-1. The Mahomes of the world used to be 25, 30-1. They really they gouge you on these prices with these hold. That being said, if you had to bet this, And I have a boost from DraftKings, like I'm sure a lot of you guys do. You need the boost even to just get like okay fairish value. Like it doesn't even give you good
The
value.
guy with the flu is 5-1. Like, let's
It's
be real
insane.
here.
It's insane.
Like, it's-
And he's not even the short shot at 5-1. Like there's two guys 5-1 or under. Is this just a total pass or anything? Like because people are still going to bet it. It's a standalone game. It's a instant action kind of bet. Would you guys? Is there anything that jumps out to you guys?
I'll stick with my guy Laporta. At least he's close to 10-1.
It does feel like you might as well just take the dog where you get better prices on their guys to score first, like the Raiders. Essentially, you get a little bit more juice on their players.
Right.
So like maybe Michael Mayer. Why not a tight end?
It's a day before Halloween. It could work out, right? Isn't that how you have to do it?
That's what I was hinting at.
What has happened to Hunter Renfrow? 40-1. What happened?
Oh,
He
no,
was
he's
so good
not
a
a
few
thing
years
anymore.
ago.
He's just not even on the team.
Why?
Yeah. No, he's not a thing anymore.
I think Josh has more targets this season than
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow.
I don't get it
He's
though.
not
Isn't
on
he
a
like
roster.
what am I missing with him? He's good.
Last season, he was done last season.
Yeah, I remember he got. I think it was Christmas Eve. He got the first touchdown against the Steelers, or like 20-1. It's weird how he's just not a factor though. Like I've always said, he's a good player. He's not old. I don't get that one. That's strange.
He's like this generation of Wes Welker. He's always been that slot guy that just finds finds spot. Like I feel like half the time he didn't even run routes. It was just find the open soft spot. So
yeah, no, D-Bend is on it. He's like, how do you not take Michael Mayer a day before Halloween? It's a really good point. Is it still tight ends week or was that last week?
It was a day. I think it was National Tight End Day,
which
is another thing I had never heard of until it happened.
No, they just made that up.
Yeah. All right. For me, I guess it would be what was yours, Josh? Meyer?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Michael Mayer.
And what was yours, Brian? Laporta?
I went Laporta.
Yeah.
God, these odds stink.
We got our tight ends covered.
Like Brock Wright. Who the fuck is Brock Wright? Is that a backup tight end? Who is Brock Wright?
I think it's the Lions backup tight end.
Oh, that's really fair. Yeah, fourth string tight end at 22-1. That's a great bet.
Heavy blocking duties.
Yeah, I mean, what does that pay? I would go, well, whatever. I'll put my money where my mouth is. Renfrow at 40-1.
Yeah, there you go. Take
Probably
a tiny little white dude.
Probably be inactive tonight. And now I kind of have to bet it because if he ever did, I'm just going to sit here and bitch about it. So
yeah,
I mean,
100%. Now I really hope he doesn't. Do you want us to slang some NBA bets at you
before the World Series? Sure, yeah. NBA.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
If you want to talk about the World Series, we can.
No, go.
Brian, what do you want to talk about?
I have a conversation for both, so it's up to you guys. How many bets do you have for the NBA?
I can give out. I can give out my three favorite if you want.
Go for it.
Yeah, let's do that. And then go to the World Series.
All right, cool. I'm gonna take the my first one here. We got the Chicago Indy over. It's now 229. I think you can still get a 228.5. It opened at 226 where I hit it. So I would still take the over 228.5 for the over in the Chicago Indy game. It's just going to be pace. So that's the first one. If you guys want any more on that, let me know. The other, I'll give a player prop as my favorite. Trae Young, he's still at 24.5 points. They're playing Minnesota. These teams average 246 points a game in their last four. He averages 34 points a game against them in his last four as well, against the Timberwolves in Atlanta, where they're also way better on offense. So Trae Young over 24.5 points there. And then the other one, I'm taking a little same game parlay with SGA to get 25 points and -4.5 for the Thunder at home against the Pistons, but some form of SGA to score and the Thunder to win that game.
Thunder had been playing well. I noticed, then Denver just smacked them yesterday, man. Denver's
great spot,
really good.
Great get right spot. They're getting value because they're on the back-to-back and they forfeit points for that, but like they played nobody more than like 25
no
minutes.
Issue scoring. I think they shot 60% yesterday.
Yeah.
Plus they're young and they have a lot of depth, so I think their pieces are interchangeable.
Shai only played 28 last night and scored 7. Like this is
he shot I think 0 for 8 to start the game. He looked terrible.
We're mad game.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think SGA over 29.5 is a bet I'm going to have to put in there because he's the one guy I don't worry about on a back-to-back. He's just so athletic. He's still like a young, and he had great success last year with it. I think he's going to play normal minutes, and if there's ever a get-right spot for a guy like SGA to score 30 points, the Pistons are going to be like, what, number 1, number 2 on that list?
Yep.
Yeah, they're not good at defending. Well, they are now good at defending the paint. Jalen Duran is like pretty good actually now. He's going to be real nice. He's leading the league in rebounds and field goal percentage. He's not even 20, I don't think. but that everywhere else, yeah, guards are scoring. Zach Levine just dropped 51 on him. So like, yeah, they're gonna
With
keep
0
getting
assists,
scored on.
right? 51, 0
Yeah,
assists
yeah.
for
Shea or
Levine.
Shy? I thought it was Shea
Shy.
Gilgeous.
Yeah, it's Shy. I only know that because someone tweeted like, "What? How do you pronounce SGA's first name?" And he quote tweeted it himself with SHY in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Man, I've only heard anyone say Shea. It doesn't look like Shy either.
Does Mama call him Shy? I'm gonna call him Shy.
SHA.
It is funny that it's a mass thing where everyone mispronounces his name, and it's only funny because it only gets talked about a million times every single day with announcers, reporters, and everything, and
Yeah,
still
it's
never got
Shy.
it right.
The
Yeah.
league is so bad. Butler sitting out third game because of rest. Like the league is just such a joke. Like
No, he sat out the third game so he could play Milwaukee tonight, which is why another great bet is.
What do you mean? So he could play Milwaukee? He couldn't play both of them. There was a day in between.
Yeah.
It's a lot on your body.
It's the third game of the
And he
season.
has to
He's
fly to
already
Milwaukee
resting.
where it's
It's
cold.
the third game of the season.
I knew this was going to happen
Hey,
too.
man.
This whole like you can't rest two guys at once. Like people,
No, I didn't say
they're
you
not
can't
going to be able
rest.
to crack down. I know.
It's
I'm just
the
saying. Like
third game of the
I'm
season.
saying, they may seem like they were going to crack down on all of this, resting thing, and then
You can't.
we're
You
we're
can't.
week in and everyone's taking a rest. So it's interesting.
The toothpaste is out of the tube, man. It is what it is. You can still, look, we can try to bet on it, make some money. They have killed their regular season, though. It's a joke. I mean, and Butler tries to act like he's this old school tough guy. Like I play every game. I'm a throwback. You're sitting out the third
Didn't
game
he
of the
just say
season
he's going
with
to play
rest.
like
Give me a
all?
break.
Didn't he just say he's going to play like all 90 some games or something this year? I'm pretty sure that was a quote from Butler's. I had to let me. You guys talk. I'm gonna look that up. I'm pretty sure before the season, Jimmy Butler made a comment like
I'm
that.
scared to keep talking about the NBA.
Oh, I mean, it's just so bad. It's so bad.
I know. I mean, I was gonna say like Adam Silver is most likely pushing the agenda of like, yeah, I would rather have Jimmy Butler sit out on a Sunday than miss the Milwaukee game.
It was a Saturday. It was Saturday. So we had a day off in between. It wasn't back to back, and it's the third game of the season. If you want to sit out a game in February when you've played the first 45 games, yeah, that's understandable.
I don't know the man's limits.
It's the third game of the season. Like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous what the league has become. Anything else you got, Brian?
I think earlier I did bet on Kyrie Irving under 25.5 points. But the more I look at it, the more I just might take Luka at 31.5 as well. We kind of talked about a little bit before the show. The Grizzlies are just a mess. I mean, even on Saturday they lost to the Wizards, and I watched the entire game this morning to kind of look at their defense. They have Smart playing off the ball. They have Jaren Jackson just running around punching people. Like, I don't understand their defense. There's no real unity to it. So I just think you have to believe they're going to get right eventually, even a slightest. So I do imagine that Marcus Smart would play more on ball today. So I just don't know if Kyrie Irving has like what do you call it? I don't know if he has the leash to take like 30 shots like Jordan Poole did to muster his way to 27 points. I think you'll probably see 18 shots around there for him. So I think 25 is a little high.
All right, World Series, basically a pick 'em. Scherzer against Fott. These last two Fott starts in the playoffs, these alt strikeout props have gone over. I took a shot. It's not going to win, but Scherzer 8 plus, Fott 8+ at what 90 to 1, 100 to 1. Do you guys have a feel for the game? Who wins the series? Any interest? I know Josh, you're kind of checked out on baseball. Brian, do you have anything on the baseball?
I actually gave that a long look as the because you laddered Scherzer. I was looking at the outs. His outs were 15.5.
He's giving you no length. There's no like statistics to back my bet here with Scherzer, which I admit. Like the only hope is, hey, he's been throwing hard. He said he had a blister during the ALCS that it's fine now. So maybe, hey, he's stretched out a little bit after 2 starts under his belt. It's not like last start he's in game 7 where it's like, all right, couple runners on, we get him out of here. It's game 3, it's 1-1. So maybe he gets, 8 in 5 innings or something. Like we've seen it unpredictably happen with Suarez, with Fott. So I just didn't want to be left out where these other people cash these 100 to 1. So probably not going to hit, but I do think Fott over 4.5 is a good look. 16 in his last 2 starts.
I think Fott over 13.5 ounces is not a bad luck either. I mean, as you mentioned, it's game 3. Their leash is a little different. Yeah. Scherzer's
probably earned some rope
14.5.
here. He's pitched well. He's probably earned a little trust, a little rope.
Yeah, and he's been really good. I mean, he's getting people to swing out of their shoes. So
yes.
I do think if I had to bet, like gun to my head, I had to put 2 bets down, I would lean Fox over and maybe Scherzer under 14.5, only because it's -120 on DraftKings. FanDuel has it like -150 for that under 14.5. I do think that you can give, you can get the strikeouts and still not go super long in the game.
Yeah, and again, I don't look. I bet it doesn't mean like, oh, I think this is going to happen. I just, hey, you know what? Took a shot with the number. I wanted wanted to take a shot. I really have no feel for Scherzer. He hasn't pitched well. He hasn't pitched long. It's still Scherzer if he's healthy. Again, he's been throwing 95. So I don't know. Do you guys have any feel on who wins the game? It's up to, let's see, Rangers are minus 135 for the series. Game 1 was awesome. Game 2, Arizona blew them out. Do you guys have any feel for the game or the series? Who wins?
I would say for game 3, I would have really liked to have a plus side on Arizona to back them and not have to lay in. I know that they're still the underdogs, but I'm seeing minus 108.
Yeah.
So I would lean them just off the pitching matchup, but it is tough that they're getting that home field advantage where you're not getting the plus money.
Who do you guys think wins tonight?
I mean, I would take Texas. I don't have a feel for it at all either.
Yeah, I think it's pretty even. I think my thing is I think Font is a better pitcher right now.
Who wins? One word. Who wins? Then we'll go to Tone. Tone was the only one who said Texas last week, right?
I'm going to say
picking
Arizona,
Game
but root for
7.
Texas. I'm rooting for Texas, but
Oh
I
my
just
God,
think
just give an answer.
I just
You
said
said that the
Arizona, but rooting
Raiders.
for Texas.
Arizona. So Josh said Josh. You said Texas.
Yep.
Brian, you said Arizona. Tone, who you got? Who wins tonight?
I've been saying it. Arizona is a team of destiny. I just don't see it stopping, and I think Arizona
Wow.
wins it.
You think they win tonight too? So you think they win tonight and they win?
I think they win tonight. Yeah, I don't know if it ends in 5 or anything, but like, I have a feeling.
Arizona won the next
Yeah,
3, but how
yeah.
could you be shocked? I guess at this point, it's been
Yeah.
so crazy.
I have a feeling they
my-
win in. Man, I want to say they win at home. They could win at home, but they probably win in 6. I think.
I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll go
I
Texas tonight. I don't have any feel though. I mean, it's
I don't
weird
really
to
have-
say Fott, who's had like 10 career starts. It's amazing when you go back. He got sent down twice this year. His ERA was like 8.37 the first time he got sent down. Here he is, Game 3 of the World Series. It's hard to think Fott versus Scherzer. You're like, oh, pitching advantage goes to Fott, but it kind of does
Yeah.
based on recent performance.
Yeah,
I'll just say Texas's lineup is better. I don't have any conviction. I wouldn't bet. It should be a fun game to watch.
I'll say this: I don't really have much thought either way. I just go in these playoffs. I feel like maybe I'm old school. I value pitching a lot, and I do
Yeah.
think if it's a coin toss and you have to pay a little bit of vig on either side. I just think, as you said, that Foch is pitching better than you can trust out of Scherzer right now. Which I could be, totally wrong, and Scherzer can come out and pitch like a no hitter. Like he's
Sure.
still Max Scherzer, but he's just been getting hit around like crazy.
Yep. All right, boys. Fun show. We covered a lot. Anything else?
Sports or sportsing.
Lots of sports tonight. Baseball, basketball, football. Chats were good. It was a little fight. We got a little feisty
And for
on
for FIFA Brit Sam, there's MLS playoffs tonight
MLS
as well.
playoffs. Jimmy Butler might actually play tonight. As tough as he is, 4 games into the season, he might actually play in his 3rd game. So keep an eye on that, boys. We'll be back noon Eastern tomorrow. Enjoy all the games. Monday Night Football, World Series. Thank you to Pickett, Sleeper. See you guys tomorrow.